அதனால் இங்கிலீஷில் இருக்க பேர் ஷெல்ஃப் டு செல்ஃப்னு. அந்த ஒரு முயற்சி பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கோம். அப்போது இப்படி வாசிட்டு இருக்கிறத ஒரு ஸ்லோகம் வரது. அந்த ஸ்லோகம் இன்னைக்கு 6000 வருஷம் முன்னால் ஸ்ரீகிருஷ்ணன் அர்ஜுனன்ட்டு சொன்னார். சரி, இன்னைக்கு 2025 இருக்கோமே, நம்ம நடைமுறை வாழ்க்கையில் அது எப்படி பயனாகிறது? அதாகும் அது இப்போ பண்ணுறோம்னு சொன்னால், உங்களுக்கு அது இன்ட்ரெஸ்ட் இருந்துன்னு சொன்னால், அந்த இன்ஃபர்மேஷன் சென்டரில் உங்கள் பேரையும் டெலிஃபோன் நம்பர், வாட்ஸ்அப்பு, இமெயில் இதெல்லாம் கொடுத்தேன்னு சொன்னால் வாரம் உங்களுக்கு வரும். இது தமிழ்லேயே வரும், இங்கிலீஷ்லேயும் வேணால் வரும். ரெண்டு எண்ணம் வரும். அப்போ நீங்கள் பார்த்துட்டே இருந்தால் முள்ள அந்த பகவத்கீதை எப்படி நம்ம உள்ளே போகிறதுங்கிறது நமக்கு புரியும். அதனுடைய எக்ஸாம்பிள் தான் நேற்று சொல்லிட்டு இருந்தோம். One day I hopped into a taxi heading for the airport. As we cruised along, suddenly a black car darted out from a parking spot right in front of us. My taxi driver slammed on the bikes, tires screeching, and we came to a halt just inches from the potential accident. The driver of the black car, instead of apologizing, whipped his head around, started yelling at us in anger. To my surprise, my taxi driver just smiled and waved at him. Genuinely, not sarcastically. I was stunned. Why did you do that? That guy almost wrecked your car and sent us to the hospital. Then the taxi driver shared a lesson I will never forget. Many people are like garbage trucks. They run around full of garbage, frustration, anger, disappointment. As their garbage piles up, they need a place to dump in. Yeah, correct. And sometimes they will dump it on you. Don't take it personally. Just smile, wave, wish them well, and move on. Don't take their garbage and spread it to others at work, at home, and on the street. வீட்டுக்கு போய் அதை அங்கே நடந்தது இங்கே வீட்டில் போய் சொல்லி வரும். He concluded, life is too short to wake up with regrets. Love the people who treat you right. Pray for the ones who don't. Hate சொல்லலைங்க. You follow now? Love the people who treat you well. Pray for the ones who don't. Remember, life is 10% and what you make it 90%. His calm, positive response turned what could have been a day-running moment into one of the best lessons in my life. Connection to Bhagavad Gita. பிரசாந்த மனசம் ஹேனம் யோகினம் சுகமுத்தமம் உபைதி சாந்த ரஜசம் பிரம்மபூதமகல்மஷம். Great transcendental happiness comes to the yogi whose mind is calm, whose passions are subdued, who is without sin, who sees everything in connection with God. And the taxi driver, how he was calm and quiet. So while doing this, we don't have to bring the exact meaning. What was done 6,000 years is not the one now. So we have to take the extract and apply it. How the taxi driver dealt with the problem with a calm, serene, quiet mind. அப்போ இதில் பிரசாந்த மனசம். Great transcendental happiness comes to the yogi whose mind is calm, whose passions are subdued, who is without sin. Hari Om. and who sees everything in connection with God. The taxi driver's response is a living example of this teaching. He kept his mind calm, untroubled, not allowing the anger of another to disturb his peace. By not reacting with frustration or anger, he maintained his inner happiness and passed on that peace to others. True happiness and strength come from a calm mind and controlled emotions. As the Gita teaches, when we refuse to let others' negativity disturb our peace, we experience a higher joy and become a source of calm for the world around us. The law of garbage truck is, in essence, the wisdom of the Gita in everyday life. Let go, stay calm, choose happiness. ఇప్పుడు நம்ம whenever we come across with any incident, any object, any person, if we try to connect it, at that time we may not remember, but we will remember now. And then we try to go to the Bhagavad Gita. Immediately you will get some sloka with that background. And then go again and again and again I go to, oh, this is what he said. Peace Pilgrim, next one. A remarkable woman, known for her unwavering commitment to nonviolence and love, once encountered a troubled teenage boy. He was large, strong, feared by many for his violent outbursts. He had even once beaten his own mother so badly she was hospitalized for weeks. When he expressed a desire to go hiking, everyone was too afraid to accompany him, but Peace Pilgrim, trusting in the power of compassion, volunteered to go with him. As they climbed the first hilltop, the thunderstorm rolled in. The boy's fear turned to panic. Suddenly, in his terror and confusion, he lashed out, began to hit her. Peace Pilgrim could have easily escaped. He was weighed down by a heavy backpack, but she chose to stay. Even as he struck her, she felt a deep compassion for his suffering. How terrible to be so psychologically sick that you would hit a defenseless woman. அப்படிதான் எடுத்துக்கிட்டா. Only she did not condemn him. Instead of responding with anger or fear, she bathed his hatred in love. Her calm and loving response had a profound effect. The boy stopped hitting and said in surprise, "You did not hit back? Mother always hit backs." The delayed reaction, her refusal to retaliate, reached the goodness buried deep within him. Overcome with remorse, he broke down, experiencing complete self-condemnation. Peace Pilgrim later reflected, "What are a few bruises on my body compared to the transformation of a human life?" The boy was never violent again, went on to become a useful, peaceful member of the society. Slogan number 15 of chapter number 12. Yasmano dijate logo, lokanno vichate jaya, harsha amarsha baya udvegai, muktoya satame priya. அது வந்து 12th, in 12th chapter, he says, in the 15th sloka, Yasmanno dijate loko, lokanno dijate chaya, harsha amarsha baya udvegai, muktoya sachame priya. Those who are not a source of annoyance to anyone, who in turn are not agitated by anyone, who are equal in pleasure and pain, and free from fear and anxiety, such devotees of mine are very dear to me. In the 12th chapter, he is defining who is the dearest devotee. So instead of just reading the slogan and understanding, we are trying to understand it through an example. Peace Pilgrim's response to violence with unwavering calm, compassion, and forgiveness is a living example of his teaching. She was not a source of agitation or annoyance to anyone, nor was she agitated by others' action. Even in the face of harm, her equanimity, freedom from fear, and ability to see The good in everyone made her truly dear to the divine. True spiritual strength lies in meeting hatred with love, violence with compassion, fear with calm. As the Gita teaches, those who remain unshaken by the world and who do not disturb others, but instead radiate peace, are most beloved by the divine. Peace Pilgrim's life reminds us that even the hardest hearts can be transformed by the gentle power of unconditional love. இப்படி இணைக்கிறோம். We have to keep on blending Bhagavad Gita with day-to-day experience. Then slowly we come to know that it is not a book to be kept in the shelf. It's a living example. A group of successful alumni, each well established in their careers, reunited to visit their beloved university professor. As they gathered, the conversation quickly turned to the pressures and stresses of modern work and life. Each alumnus shared complaints about deadliness, competition, and the never-ending pursuit of more and more. Sensing an opportunity for a lesson, the professor offered his guests coffee. He went into the kitchen, returned with a large pot of coffee and a tray of cups. Some porcelain, some plastic, some glass, some crystal, some plain, some exquisite, some expensive. He invited them to help themselves. As the alumni poured their coffee, the professor watched them quietly. Soon he noticed that everyone had chosen the best looking, the most expensive cups, leaving behind the plain and cheap ones. Some even began to glance at each other's cups, comparing and perhaps envying. When all were settled, the professor spoke. Did you notice that the nice looking expensive cups were taken, leaving behind the plain ones? It is normal to want only the best for yourself, but that is the very source of your stress and problem. Because they started with stress and problem, you know. The cup itself adds no quality to the coffee. In most cases, it is just more expensive, sometimes even hides what we drink. What you really wanted was coffee, not the cup. Yet, you consciously went for the best cups, then began eyeing each other's cups. Life is the coffee. Jobs, money, position in society are the cups. They are just tools to hold and contain life. The type of cup does not define or change the quality of life we live. Sometimes by focusing only on the cup, we fail to enjoy the coffee God has provided us. God brews the coffee, not the cup. Enjoy your coffee. Connection to Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 16, sloga number 13. Idamadya maya labdam imam prapsye manoratham idam astitamabhi me bhavishyati punardhanam. The demonic person thinks, I have gained so much wealth today, I shall now fulfill this desire of mine, this is mine, tomorrow I shall have even more. No? This is what demonic, asuric forces. This sloga describes the restless pursuit of more wealth, more possession, more status, believing that happiness lies in accumulation and comparison. Like the alumni, we often focus on the cups of life, thinking that better jobs, bigger houses, fancier possessions will bring us fulfillment. But in the process, we forget to savor of the coffee. The simple joys, the essence of life. True commitment comes not from the external trappings of life, but from appreciating and enjoy the essence of what we have. The Gita teaches us to look beyond material desires and comparisons, and to find joy in the present moment. Don't let the pursuit of the perfect cup keep you from enjoying the coffee. Life's richness is in the experience, not in the appearance. Next one. Ria, a talented student from Delhi, was celebrated for his creativity and passion for art. Yet, like many young people, she found herself swept up by the expectation of her family and the prevailing trends among the peers. Despite her love for the arts, Ria enrolled in a top engineering college, hoping to please her parents and fit in with her friends. Normally, we don't ask our children what is your choice. This is what now happens. From the very first year, Ria struggled. The coursework felt alien to her, and she found little joy in subjects like mathematics and science. Her grades slipped, her confidence waned, and she felt increasingly out of place. The stress and unhappiness mounted. She began to realize that her decision had been driven by external pressures, not her own interest or aptitude. என்னோட விருப்பம் என்னன்னு தெரியாம நீங்க அதை படி இதை படின்னு சொன்னா புரியுமா? After 2 years of struggle, Ria summoned the courage to speak honestly with her parents. She explained her lack of interest in engineering and her true passion for graphic design and the visual arts. Though her parents were initially hesitant, they ultimately supported her decision to switch paths. Ria thrived in design school, excelling in her studies, rediscovering her love for learning. She went on to build a successful career as a graphic designer, working with leading brands and finding both professional fulfillment and personal happiness. Ria's story is a reminder that blindly following popular or expected career paths without, without pausing to assess one's own temperament, aptitude, interest can lead to regret and wasted time. It is only through thoughtful self assessment and open communication that one can make choices that lead to lasting fulfillment. Connection to Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 1, sloka 21. Senayor upayor madhye ratam stapaya me achyuta. Place my chariot in the midst of the two armies, O Achyuta, that I may observe those who stand here eager to fight. Let me know with whom I must engage in this battle. Straight away battle போகலையே. Similarly, we should also know first, evaluate first, and then plunge into action. Before plunging into the great battle of Kurukshetra, Arjuna asked Krishna to pause, to place his chariot in the middle of the two armies so he can observe and assess the situation. This crucial pause allows Arjuna to reflect deeply before acting. Similarly, Ria's turning point came when she paused to reflect on her true interests and abilities rather than rushing forward on the path chosen by others. This pause, this self assessment, helped her realign her action with her authentic self, leading to both peace and success. Before making important life decisions, especially those that shape our future, it is wise to pause, reflect, assess the situation honestly, just as Arjuna did on the battlefield. The Bhagavad Gita teaches us that thoughtful self examination and courage to act on our true calling are essential for a fulfilling and successful life. புரியறது இல்லையா சொன்னது? உங்களுக்கு புரியறதா? புரியறதா உங்களுக்கு? இல்லையா? உங்கள்கிட்ட தான் கேட்குறோம் இல்லையா? புரியறதா இல்லையா? இந்த அம்மாட்ட அதான் கேட்குறோங்க சொல்லுவேன். ஏன்னா அது புரியலைன்னு சொன்னால் நாங்கள் எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்ணோம் இல்லையா, அதுக்காக கேட்குறோம். ஸோ ஈச் அண்ட் எவரி ஸ்லோகா வி மே நாட் பி ஏபிள் டு. Some shloka we will get connected. First we will make an attempt. First we will come to know, to some extent you all know now, that it is connected with our daily life, daily life, daily life, daily life. What he talked 6,000 years ago, it is available to us in a different mode, that's all. We remove that context. But what he said, we take it, the cream, and then start applying to our day-to-day life. Oh, this is Bhagavad Gita. This is Bhagavad Gita. Again, Rainash. How do you spell? Rainash. A lively 6-year-old was playing joyfully in his front yard when his ball slipped through the open gate, bounced onto the busy main road. Acting on pure instinct, Rainash dashed after it, unaware of the danger that awaited. At that very moment, a speeding car came, hurtling down the road. Pradeep, the alert driver, slammed on the brakes, stopping just in time. Mere feet from the little boy, Rainesh, blissfully unaware of his brush with danger, picked up his ball, ran back inside the hut. Shaken, Pradeep parked his car, approached the house. When Rainesh's grandfather answered the door, Pradeep gently explained what had happened and suggested he is too young to grasp the danger, but a simple act of keeping the gate shut could prevent a serious accident. The grandfather listened, his initial concern giving way to deep gratitude. He realized that Rainer's impulsive dash for the ball could have ended in tragedy, and that a small pause, a moment of awareness, or even the simple act of closing a gate could make all the difference. Same sloga, Senayor Upayor Madhye. Praise my chariot. Before the great battle of Kurukshetra, Arjuna asked Krishna to pause and place his chariot in the middle of the two armies. He wants to observe, reflect, fully understand the situation before acting. This moment of thoughtful pause is the mark of wisdom. It allows one to see clearly, assess the risk, make conscious, informed decisions. In Rainer's story, the lesson is the same. A moment's pause, a closed gate, a quick assessment can prevent harm and bring safety. Acting with awareness rather than impulse is the path of wisdom. Before rushing into action, whether in play, work, or life's great battles, it is wise to pause, observe, assess the situation. Bhagavad Gita teaches us that clarity and safety come from thoughtful reflection and conscious choices. Sometimes a small pause can make all the difference between danger and safety, regret and gratitude, confusion and wisdom. Arjun was a gifted software engineer in Bangalore, living a comfortable life with his wife and young daughter. When a prestigious multinational company in Bombay offered him a high paying managerial role, Arjun was elated. The promise of a hefty salary, coveted title, and the admiration of his peers was irresistible. Eager to prove himself and climb the corporate ladder, Arjun accepted the offer, moving to Mumbai, leaving his family behind. The new job was everything he had dreamed of at first. The perks, the recognition, the sense of achievement were exhilarating. But soon, the demands of the role took their toll. Long hours, relentless travel, constant pressure left Arjun drained. இத்தனை பேருக்கு வேலை நடக்குது. He missed birthdays, school performances, quiet evenings with his family. His hobbies, photography and volunteering, fell by the wayside. The excitement faded, replaced by a growing sense of emptiness and fatigue. One evening, after missing his daughter's school play for the third time, Arjun sat alone in his apartment, overwhelmed by regret. His body felt heavily, his mind restless, his heart ached with longing for the life he had left behind. He realized he had been chasing external rewards, status, money, validation, while neglecting what truly matters, that is, connection, balance, inner fulfillment. This is the corporate world today, no? Everybody can understand that. After deep reflection, Arjunan made a courageous choice. He resigned from the high pressure job, returned to Bangalore, accepting a simpler role and paid less but allowed him to be present for his family and pursue his passion. The decision brought him peace, health, genuine happiness. Connection to Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 1, shloka number 29. Sidanti mamagatrani mukham cha parishushyati vepadushchum harirema romaharshasya jayate. My limbs give away, my mouth is parched, my body trembles, my hair stands on end. Just as Arjuna, the mighty warrior, was gripped by confusion and inner conflict on the battlefield, his body reacting to the storm within. Nobody has attacked him. But he says, my limb give away, my mouth is parched, my body trembles, my hair stands on the. So too did Arjun experience the physical and emotional toil of a mind clouded by delusion and misplaced priorities. The body, as the Gita teaches, often echoes the mind's turmoil. When our actions are driven by fear, ego, or pressure, we lose sight of our true path and both mind and body suffer. The greatest battles are fought within. When we ignore our inner voice and chase hollow rewards, confusion and fatigue follow. The Bhagavad Gita reminds us that clarity, contentment, and strength arise. When we ignore our inner voice and chase hollow rewards, confusion and fatigue follow. The Bhagavad Gita reminds us that clarity, contentment, and strength arise when we pause, reflect, and realign our action with our deepest values. True fulfillment comes not from external validation, but from living in harmony with our authentic self. The first victory must always be won on the inner battlefield. A and B were inseparable friends in college. Their bond, the envy of their peers. They shared everything, notes, meals, laughter, late into the night. But one semester, A noticed a change. B grew distant, messages went unanswered, invitations were politely declined. A felt invisible, unimportant, began to wonder, did I do something wrong? Has B found better friends? Am I no longer valued? Instead of reaching out, A let these negative thoughts fester. The joy of campus life faded, replaced by anxiety, sadness, and a growing sense of isolation. A's mind became a battlefield of doubt and insecurity. Weeks later, during a group project, B finally noticed A's withdrawn behavior and asked gently what was wrong. With hesitation, A shared his feelings of hurt and neglect. To his surprise, B was shocked and apologetic. B explained that he had been overwhelmed by family troubles and a demanding part time job, unintentionally neglecting not just A but all his friends. Relief washed over A. The misunderstanding melted away. Friendship was restored, now stronger with a deeper understanding. A realized that his suffering was not caused by B's actions but by his own assumptions and mistaken thoughts. Connection to Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 1, sloka number 30. Gandivam samsute hastat tvakchaiva paridahyate natashaknomi avastatum brahmadiva chame manaha. My bow, the Gandiva, slips from my hand. My skin burns all over. I am unable to stand. My mind is in a whirl, as it were. Just as Arjuna, the mighty warrior, who was gripped by confusion and inner toil on the battlefield, his body reacting to the storm within, so too did A experience the emotional toil of a mind clouded by doubt, fear, and wrong assumptions. The real suffering was not in the situation, but in the way the mind interpreted it. Our greatest struggles often arise not from reality, but from our own thoughts and assumptions. When we let unspoken fears and doubts take over, when we let unspoken fears and doubts take over, we create problems that may not exist. The Bhagavad Gita reminds us that clarity and peace come from honest communication and understanding. By clearing the mind of confusion and seeking the truth, we restore harmony within ourselves and in our relationship. The first battle is always within, and it is one with awareness, courage, compassion. So, in this connection, we should also remember slowly we try to recognize why Gita is remembered even today. You can sit somewhere, no? You can take the chair from the next room.
In the chair in the. You can sit here. There are chairs there. We already kept the 3 chairs in the way.
The chair there outside, no? You can sit there. So we should remember we are talking about Bhagavad Gita which took place 6,000 years ago. Why it is still relevant? Then we slowly try to understand the words of Mahatmas that Lord Krishna represents the God principle in us, the life force, the consciousness, the intelligence. உயிர் உணர்வு புத்தி சக்தி அதான் கிருஷ்ணா. Everyone feels me, me and mine. That is Arjuna. And in us there are positive forces, negative forces, Pandavas and Kauravas. Every day there is a fight going on. Whenever we hear God's voice, whenever we go to the origin, we get a reply from them. So Gita teaches us that every day it is going on in our mind. Arjuna listened to Krishna. We should also listen to his voice. So it is not a thing that had happened 6,000 years ago. It is a thing which is happening even now in us. If this background is there, we will find all the stanzas which we are talking. It is relevant. A little boy entered a drugstore, determined and full of purpose. He dragged a soda carton over to the public telephone, climbed on top so he could reach the buttons, dialed an 8-digit number. The store owner, curious, watched as the boy began his conversation. Boy, he dialed 8. Lady, can you give me the job of cutting your lawn? Woman on the phone. I already have someone to cut my lawn. Boy, lady, I will cut your lawn for half the price of the person who cuts your lawn now. Woman, I am very much satisfied with the person who is presently cutting my lawn. Boy persisted. Lady, I will even sweep your curb and your sidewalk. So on Sunday you will have the pretty lawn in all of Palm Beach. Woman said, no, thank you. With a smile, the boy hung up the phone. The store owner, having overheard the conversation, was impressed by the boy's spirit and determination. He walked over and said, son, I like your attitude. I like that positive spirit. I would like to offer you a job. Boy said, no thanks. He surprised, but you were really pleading for one. Boy said, no sir, I was just checking my performance at the job. I already have. I am the one who is working for that lady I was talking to. The boy was not looking for a job. He was making sure that he was doing his current job so well that even if he offered more, his client would not want to replace him. He was committed not just to working, but to working skillfully with excellence. Connection to Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 2, sloka number 50. Uddiyukto jahadeha ubhe sugrata dushkrite tasmat yoga yujyasya yoga karmasu kaushalam. It's a very important one. One who prudently practices the science of work without attachment can get rid of both good and bad reactions in his life itself. Therefore, strive for yoga, which is the art of working skillfully in proper consciousness. So wherever we are working, Ilya, if you bring out the efficiency, the joy is there. But this boy wanted to ensure. The little boy's story is a perfect example of this teaching. He was not just doing his job, he was striving for excellence, checking his own performance, and making sure he was irreplaceable. He was practicing the art of working skillfully, with full dedication, without attachment to praise or reward. The Bhagavad Gita teaches that true yoga is the art of skillful action. Doing your work with excellence, awareness, without attachment to the outcome. Like the little boy, when we focus on perfecting our craft and serving others with sincerity, we rise above mere success and failure. We embody the spirit of Karma Yoga, working with mindfulness, integrity, and a commitment to continuous improvement. You wanted to know, no? So each and every shloka must be having it. We have only selected something as a first step, and we are praying to him, kindly take us to each and every shloka and make us aware of the gems you have hidden beneath. It was a day of joy and celebration. Another example. The whole family, along with close friends, had gathered on the lush lawns of their bungalow to mark the parents' wedding anniversary. All from daily life, The air was filled with laughter, music, and the aroma of delicious food. For this special occasion, the mother had brought out her finest crockery, delicate cups with exquisite design, reserved only for such cherished gatherings. After tea, a tray of these precious cups lay on the side table. The mother gently signaled to one of her daughters to carry it to the kitchen. Eager to help, the girl hurried off, but in her rush, she missed a step at the doorway. The tray tipped, and the beautiful crockery crashed to the floor, shattering into pieces. The girl froze, her heart pounding. Tears welled up in her eyes, and she imagined her mother's anger. Gathering the broken pieces, she steeled herself and went to confess, trembling with fear. But to her astonishment, her mother remained calm. With a gentle smile, she asked, "Are you hurt?" When the girl shook her head, the mother replied, "Then I am not worried, dear. I can replace the crockery, but I can't replace you." In that moment, the girl learned the lesson she would never forget. True love and wisdom remain undisturbed by life's minor losses. The mother's serenity and compassion were deeper and more enduring than any attachment to possession. Connection to Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 2, 70. Apuryamanam achala pradishtam. Apuryamanam achala pradishtam samudrapabam pravishanti yadvat tadvat kamayam pravishanti sarve sashantim apinoti nakamakami. One who remains undisturbed despite all happenings, like the ocean into which rivers flow, attains peace, not the one who runs after desires. ശ്ലോകമപ്പ ആപൂര്യമാണ് മചലപ്രതിഷ്ഠം. Just as the vast ocean remains unmoved as countless rivers flow into it, the mother's mind was steady and peaceful, unaffected by the loss of her treasured crockery. Her love for her daughter was far more valuable than any material possession. She did not let desire or attachment disturb her inner calm. True peace comes from her inner stability, not from clinging to possessions or desires. As the Gita teaches, those who remain undisturbed by life's ups and downs, valuing people over things and love over loss, attaining lasting peace. The mother's calm response is a shining example of the wisdom, teaching us to be like the ocean, deep, steady, serene, no matter what flows our way. See how Bhagavad Gita is unfolding herself, one by one, one by one. K.V. Bhaskaran, a 40-year-old deputy HR manager in Krompet, leads a modest life. With a homemaker wife and 2 school-going children, his income is just enough to cover the family's basic needs. There are no luxuries, no savings, just the essentials. Yet, every month, Bhaskaran performs an act of quiet generosity that touches many lives. Incidents. On the first of each month, Bhaskaran collects rice using both his and his father's ration card. He delivers 30 kgs rice to Amrita Rajagopalan, a devoted social worker who supports 57 care homes for orphans, the elderly and the disabled. Amrita distributes the rich rice to those in urgent need, bringing hope and sustenance to the most vulnerable. Bhaskaran has followed this practice for 3 years. This is my way of helping the less fortunate, he says. I could not afford to join social service clubs due to their fees, but I found Amrita and decided. I found Amrita and I found Amrita and decided to help in my own way. Unable to make cash donations, he uses his ration card as a tool for service. He also encourages others to donate old clothes, placing free ads in speaking to public directly. We all must do our bit to help those who have less. Bhaskaran's reactions are not driven by recognition or reward. He gives quietly, without expectation, making his work an offering of compassion and selflessness. Connection to Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 3, shloka number 30. Mai sarvani karmani sanyasyaadhyatma chetasa nirashir nirmamo bhutva yudvasya vikata jvaraha. Performing all works as an offering unto him, constantly meditate on me as the Supreme, become free from desire and selfishness, and with your mental grief, depart, fight. Mai sarvani karmani. Bhaskaran's service is a living example of this teaching. He performs his action as an offering, free from desire for personal gain or recognition. He is not attached to the results, nor does he act out of selfishness. His heart is set on helping others, and in doing so, he finds fulfillment and peace. True service is not measured by wealth or grand gestures, but by the spirit of selfless offering. The Bhagavad Gita teaches us to dedicate our actions to a higher purpose, free from attachment and expectation. Bhaskaran's quiet generosity reminds us that even small acts done with love and humility can bring light and hope to the world. When we act without selfishness, every deed becomes a sacred offering. Mai sarvani karmani. In a lively chaos of a hostel, one morning began with a burst of frustration. A student stormed out of the washroom, his voice echoing down, Whoever used it before me did not bother to clean up. How can people be so careless? Hostile. His complaint drew a crowd with heads nodding in agreement and a few joining in the chorus of grumbling. Amidst the commotion, another student quietly observed. Without a word, he walked into the washroom, rolled up his sleeves, cleaned it thoroughly. He did not announce his deed, but did not look for witnesses, certainly did not expect thanks. When he finished, he returned to his room, a calm, contented smile on his face, his peace coming not from recognition, but from knowing he had simply done what was needed. This second student did not waste energy on blame or complaint. He focused on the need of the moment, acted selflessly, embodying the true spirit of Karma Yoga, work done for its own sake, not for applause or reward. Connection to Bhagavad Gita, 3rd chapter, 19th sloka. Tasmat asakta satatam karyam karma samachara asakto hyajaran karma paramapnoti purusha. Therefore, always perform your duty efficiently and without attachment to the results, because by doing work without attachment, one attains the Supreme. The second student's action is a living example of this teaching. He performed his duty, cleaning the washroom, not for recognition or reward, but simply because it was the right thing to do. Free from attachment to the outcome, he found inner peace and satisfaction. True fulfillment comes from selfless action, not from seeking praise or reward. As the Gita teaches, when we perform our duties without attachment to results, we rise above ego and complain, discovering a deeper peace and purpose. The world is uplifted not by those who shout about problems, but by those who quietly step forward to serve. These are all the clues Bhagavad Gita is giving. In the bustling environment of a hospital ward, a nurse moved quietly and efficiently from bed to bed. With gentle hands and compassionate heart, she comforted the anxious, administered medicines, cleaned up after those who could not help themselves. Whether she received a grateful smile or a grumble from a patient, her demeanor remained steady, her kindness unwavering. One day, a new trainee, overwhelmed by the demanding and sometimes unpleasant nature of the work, asked, "How do you manage to do even the most difficult and unpleasant task without feeling upset or attached?" The nurse replied with a warm and serene smile, "I focus on the care, not on my likes and dislikes. My duty is to serve, and I do it with compassion, leaving aside attachment or aversion. If I let my personal preference rule me, I would not be able to give every patient the care they deserve." Connection to Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 3, shloka number 34. Indriyasyarthe ragadveshau vyavastitau tayorna vashamagachet tyauhasya paripantirau. Attachment and aversion for the objects of the senses abide in the senses. One should not come under their sway, for they are one's foes and enemies. The nurse's attitude is a living example of this teaching. She does not let her personal likes and dislikes influence her work. Instead, she performs her duty with equanimity and compassion, serving all patients equally, no matter how challenging the task or how the patient responds. True Karma Yoga is to serve selflessly, without being ruled by personal preferences or aversions. The Gita teaches us that attachment and aversion are obstacles on the path of duty and inner peace. Like the nurse, when we rise above these dualities and focus on our responsibilities with a steady mind, we embody the spirit of selfless service and find fulfillment in our actions. This is applicable even for a teacher or even a banker. Clients may behave, in so many forms. The student may be receptive, may not be receptive. But the teacher, suppose he is vested, committed to the job, he does it perfectly. I think yesterday we talked. In a lively sunlit kitchen, a young cook watched in fascination as her grandmother expertly tossed raw spices onto a hot, sizzling pan. താളിച്ചു കൊട്ടത്. The seeds began to crackle and dance their colors, deepening as a mesmerizing aroma wafted through the air. Concerned, the young cook asked, "Why do you burn them, Grandma? Are not you running the precious spices?" Her grandmother smiled gently and replied, "We are not destroying them, dear. We are transforming them. The heat breaks down the raw form, and in the process, the true flavor and fragrance are revealed. What seems like destruction is actually creation." Without this change, spices would remain dull and tasteless. Their real essence would stay hidden. The young cook watched as the ordinary seeds became the soul of the dish, understanding for the first time that sometimes what looks like an ending is really a beginning. Connection to Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 4, sloga number 8. Paritranaya sadhunam, vinashaya cha dushkritam, dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. We used to translate and say something else, Day-to-day life, construction and destruction. For the protection of the good, for the destruction of the wicked, and for the establishment of the righteousness, I manifest myself age after age. Now, every day, day after day, it is coming out. Just as fire transforms raw spices, the divine sometimes allows the destruction of negativity, ignorance, and outdated ways to reveal a higher order, a greater good. What appears as loss or destruction is often a necessary step in the process of renewal and transformation. The breaking down of the old makes way for the emergence of something more fragrant, more flavorable, more true. Transformation often requires letting go of the old, even if it feels uncomfortable or looks like loss. The Bhagavad Gita teaches us that destruction and creation are two sides of the same process, both essential for growth and the establishment of higher wisdom. Like the spices in the pan, we too are transformed by the fires of experience, emerging with our true essence revealed. One more, we will do that. Okay, and then. In a high-rise office, tension filled the air. A group of managers, anxious, overwhelmed, rushed into the CEO's room, each eager to voice their concerns about a major project setback. Their words overlapped, their faces itched with worry. The CEO, however, remained serene. He listened patiently. His calm presents a stark contrast to the agitation around him. Rather than reacting with frustration or haste, he asked thoughtful questions, calmly analyzed the facts, encouraged the team to view the situation objectively. His detachment from the emotional storm allowed him to see the problem with clarity and guide his team towards a constructive solution. Gradually, the managers felt their panic subside. The CEO's composed presence was like a still lake reflecting the sky, unmoved by the winds of worry. Inspired by his example, the team regained their focus, worked together to resolve the crisis. Connection to Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 4, sloga number 14. नमाम कर्माणि लिब्बन्ति न मे कर्मफले स्पृहा इति मां यो अभिजानाति कर्मभिर्न sabhadyate. Actions do not taint me, nor I desire the fruits of action. One who understands this truth about me is not bound by actions. The CEO's attitude perfectly mirrors this wisdom. He performs his duty with full commitment, but without emotional entanglement or attachment to the outcome. By remaining detached, he is not stained by the stress or negativity of the situation. His focus is on right action, not on personal gain or loss. True leadership is rooted in calm detachment. When we act without being swayed by emotions or desires for specific outcomes, we inspire clarity and stability in others. As the Gita teaches, such detachment liberates us from the bondage of action, allowing us to serve with wisdom, peace, and effectiveness. Like the CEO, we become a source of strength for those around us, guiding others through storms with a steady hand and a clear mind. Under the bright lights of the stage, sorry. So like that, now we were going through a few examples and an explanation about how the blending takes place. Suppose we read an example and we read a sloga, we may not be able to understand. But we should also try, especially initially, we try to blend it consciously so that we are convincing our mind that Gita is a dictionary, Gita is a manual. Whenever anything goes wrong with the machinery, we go to the manual. When we don't find an answer to we don't know the answer of a particular word, we go to the dictionary. Similarly, whenever we come across, like slowly we try to understand now that Gita teaches anything that is happening in our present day world, 2025, not 6,000 years ago. This we should keep on hammering. That is why the whole project is called From Shelf to Self, from reverence to relevance. Previously, we had reverence. All of us, revere Bhagavad Gita. Oh, it's a great book. That is reverence. But it has no relevance to our life, family life, professional life, social life. Now we find there is relevance of the Gita. And if we start getting this, the advantage is for anything and everything we will start referring. And it will slowly, one reading will not, of course, help us. But when we keep on reading, pondering, manana, when we reflect, slowly the theme goes inside. So whenever there are challenges outside, at the family level, professional level, social level, we may be deriving the strength, needed strength from, oh, Bhagavad Gita says. Through an example we should study, not sloga. Sloga and meaning will not help, to be blunt. But suppose we try to understand it through an example from the day-to-day life, then we get connected to it. Otherwise, we don't get connected. More of it tomorrow. Hari Om. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai.